Welcome in to what I think is the greatest show you could possibly be watching on the internet right now. Thank you for coming to our corner of the internet. You are here with me, Shiv. You're here with Russell. You see Alicia in the chat. You've got the whole crew. And while we're just letting people funnel in here and get into today's session, I would love to know, where in the world are you dialing in from? Number one, that's always a fun question. I like to know where people are dialing in from. But more importantly, number two, I love to know a little bit more about you as an author, about you as a creator. So tell me what you write about. Tell me what your business is all about. Would love to know a little bit about that in the chat. And give me like a 1 sentence, 2 sentence description, because I want some detail here. We're writers. We value detail. Russell, why don't you start us off? Where in the world are you dialing it from?
I'm in Long Beach, California. I write nonfiction. I wrote all of these books in one universe and comics and such. So I'm a USA Today best-selling author. I end up writing a lot of nonfiction because I do a lot of fiction stuff that, like, I often say that my job is to barely break even on my weird books so that romance authors can take the same strategies and make millions of dollars. Like, that's kind of the business that I built here.
What would you consider like a weird book?
So I drew a book about a pickle once.
Okay.
It's about a pickle that falls into a black hole and has to get back and has to travel across the universe to get back home. It's very weird.
I'm here for that. I'm here for that. Like, let's get the movie adaptation out here.
I wrote a book last year about an angel who comes to help this guy in his last week of life in the universe prepare and transition for whatever the next thing is. So, like, again, some very weird stuff, but I love it, and it somehow works, and that all of those tests go into the author stack.
We're here for it. And I see there's a bunch of authors we have in the chat here. Adriano writes comics across genres, mystery and thriller novellas. Julia, contemporary fantasy writing about the hidden magic in New Orleans. I like that one. Mia, I'm a Black romance, dark contemporary romance writer from Dallas, Texas. Brian from Uganda just finished their first children's book. Congratulations. I'm seeing some fantasy writers, science fiction, lots of good stuff. We're super excited for today's session and super excited to dive into Russell's Kit. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about when we say Russell's Kit, Kit here, we're an email marketing platform where you can do a ton of stuff that we're going to break down. And Russell's, I would consider to be somewhat of a power user of especially our automations and some of our core features here at Kit. And so we're actually going to dive into Russell's account and break down the strategies that he's using to, for his books, for his business, that you can borrow as well directly from him. But before that, I know that a lot of you already probably know Russell, but Russell, let me pass it off to you just in case for the intro here.
Well, I just did the thing. Like, I just did my thing. So, like, just go reference like 3 minutes ago. Like, I write books. I have a podcast. I have a big author thing. I use Substack. I use Kit. I use a lot of these email things. I have been building email lists with and for authors for over 10 years now. And so, like, of all of the things that I do, like, people know me for like Kickstarter, they know me for Substack, but like, really, like, I think my thing is like email and how to get people, how to like maximize your own media channel.
Yeah. That's the biggest shift that we're seeing with authors, that they're owning their audience and making sure that they can be the distribution channel for how to get the word out for their own books, for their own publishing. So I love that you have that message and that you do it really well. I'm here from Kit. I'm our creator educator. So I educate all different types of our creators on how to best grow their business, how to best leverage email tools to do that. I do want to just apologize to everybody. I know the room I'm in has a little bit of an echo and there's actually some construction happening above. So if you hear some buzzing and like a giant jackhammer at some point, that's my bad. There's some construction that I'm trying to alleviate here, but look, we're going to build right? We're going to connect you to that. We're going to build some great businesses here today. And so that's why you're here in the construction here. So let's make this happen. Oh, Blake knows about my mustache. Yeah, I promise. The mustache will be back soon enough. I feel a little bad that Russell has such like a magnificent like beard, facial hair, the whole thing, and I didn't come with the whole handlebar mustache here. So
I will say I've done craft and commerce 2 years, and you always have a nice handlebar. Like, you're very dapper. The nice thing about this presentation is like Shiv and I are actually, well, like I'm friends with him, whether he's friends with me, like, but we know each other like pretty well. So hopefully this can be a little bit more like
we're just relaxed.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. And by the way, speaking of that, you have Russell and I here live, so make sure you're asking your questions in the chat as we go along as well. But just the agenda today, we're going to grow your list of email readers. We're going to talk about 2 primary strategies to do that. And then when I was talking to Russell about what's going to be the most valuable part of today's session, he was telling me automation. Let's talk about how automation can best be leveraged across what people are doing, because there's a lot of different types of sequences related to email that you can implement that will really, really benefit you as an author. And so we're going to dive into, again, some of those automations that Russell leverages, and then we will tail off with some monetization strategies that you can leverage inside a kit as well. Again, like I said, you have Russell and I here live, and then you also have Alicia on the kit team in the chat as well. So if you have technical questions, if you have general strategy questions, ask us, let us know. We'll let you know in the chat. We'll let you know here live. We'll answer those. So please take advantage of that. Number one question I know is, will there be a recording? Yes, is the answer. So yes, there will be a recording. And then last but not least, there's a couple things I'm going to do inside a kit that I'm going to show you. And so if you want, you can grab your kit account now for free, and then you can follow along with us and check out what we're doing inside a kit. And so feel free to click the link in the bottom left for your free kit account if you want to follow along with what we're doing here. And then we can just, make sure that you have that implemented as we go along. But let's go ahead and start off at the very top here. When we're talking about the process of building a great email list of readers, it's all going to start off with, how do we first collect those readers? How do we first find some of those readers? And one of the easiest ways to do that, traditionally for any business, is to give something of value up for free in exchange for somebody's contact information, in exchange for somebody's email address. Now, Russell, you do this flawlessly with the God series. Tell me about this first book in the series and what you do with this to collect email addresses.
Sure. So the series is 12 books now. It's called the God's Verse Chronicles. And I wrote a 20,000, 10,000, some amount of words prequel novella that takes place right before the first book. So when someone reads the first book, at the end of that book, it says, hey, do you want to see the prequel novella to this? Sign up to my list. And people that come to my website, they get the first thing that they see is get the prequel novella. So whether someone has read book 1 or book 2 or whatever the book is, or they're coming in fresh, this is kind of like a new entry point. And it's kind of the traditional way that we talk about this in how to do this in fiction. And then there's a similar methodology in nonfiction as well.
Well, and I want to know, was the Godverse readership already established when you had put this out? Or was this something that came first and then the Godverse books continued to grow from there?
No, there was the history of the God's Verse is chaotic. And so I wrote books 5 to 9 first.
Yeah.
And then actually I wrote comics first. So I had 2 comics, and then I decided to write novels. And then I wrote 5 to 9. And then I wrote books 9, 10, 11. Then I wrote books 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I wrote book 0. And so it looks all very clean and polished now, but it was kind of chaos. And for years, the lead magnet was issue 1 of my comic, Katrina Hates the Dead. And then it became changed once we became more like book forward.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess the reason I ask is because, I know that you host this on BookFunnel allows you to give the book free, get the email address back. Like for the people in the audience that are sitting here being like, hey, I want to grow my reader list. Like I want to get more people into the funnel. Can you talk about how this strategy relates back to that and how people can do that maybe when they're first starting with their first book series? Like when should they be putting out the free book that will generate those leads?
Well, my ex-business partner, Monica, would say the best way to make $1 million is to give a million books away for free. So as soon as possible, like you should be getting people into your series and doing, there's all sorts of strategies. Like we talk about recommendations. I know we're going to talk about in a second here. There's like mailing list builders I used. I would go to conventions. I did book funnel and story origin promos. Like I did like literally anything. There was no bad email subscriber. And then I would, what I think people fail to do is put enough people at the top of the funnel. Like everyone's like, I want to find my 1,000 true fans and 1,000 true fans and 1,000 true fans. And I swear if nothing has killed like the thought process of people more than 1,000 true fans, like I understand what Kevin Kelly was doing, but I actually like kind of hate the 1,000 true fans idea because it belies the fact that you need to have like 4 million people at the top of your funnel, because to get someone to give you $100, you have to have a bunch of people willing to give you $5 and a bunch of people that are willing to try you for free and a bunch of people to just know who you are. And so like when you actually expand that out for novelists, there are some people that can like get one client and make $1 million a year. Like novelists are not those kinds of people generally. So like you're looking at narrowing down this path. And when you actually pull back up, you need to put hundreds of thousands of people into your, I have 30,000 people on Kit right now, and I have added at least 250,000 emails total in my career to the top of my funnel. And that doesn't even include all the people who watch my YouTube or any of those other strategies. So like, yes, we all want 1,000 true fans, but like, in order to do that, you need a lot of casual fans and a lot of people who might be interested, and a lot of those people have to fall away.
Yeah.
So like, I believe there are no bad email subscribers, especially if you are doing direct sales, which is the focus of my business, because you're then not worried about Amazon also bots or any of the other things that could contaminate your pool. You're just sending them to like buy direct from you. And it becomes a lot easier actually to think about marketing when you think about selling direct or building your own email list, because now you have your own ecosystem.
Totally agree. And the thing is that we have one example up here for Russell on the free book, right? To start off, right, for the Godverse. But you do this for a lot of your novels, right? You do this for a lot of your series. You will have a book that's out there. And then the cool thing in Kit that we'll talk about in a little bit is we can figure out which one of those books, which one of those series people came in from, so that we're getting people who are interested in the Godverse. They're on the emails that are related to the Godverse. The people who are coming in through another book series, they're getting that book series from you.
Yeah, and on top of that, you can say, so let's say you send an email to your whole list. You can say something at the bottom of your email, which everyone who got this is here, probably got this email. At the bottom, it says, if you no longer want to hear about any affiliate promotions, click here. If you no longer want to hear about any writerly stuff, click here. And so like they can segment themselves out as well. So if for some reason like they get into your main email sequence and now they're listening to fiction and nonfiction or whatever, like they can self-select, and then it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do the filtering properly with who the emails get sent to. You don't have to worry about like, oh, they're going to get something they don't want, because they won't, because they said that they don't want that thing.
Yeah, literally. And so this all starts off with making sure that you have a very specific way to know which book series, which book people are coming in from. And so you can see just as far as terminology goes, this right here, what we have for the Godverse, this is a landing page. For all intents and purposes, this is what we would call a landing page, just facilitating a page that says, hey, get the book for free. Here's what the book's about. Click the link, put your email address down, hit the submit button. Having a page like that, it's called a landing page. And that's something that just really quickly, I do want to showcase. You can do this inside a kit as well. And so
before you do that, can you go to subscribers? I just want to show them at some point, like how many tags I have.
Yeah.
Like it's an insane amount of tags, like all of these. So at the top, you see segments, which are, so if you're on this list, you'll be in my author stack segment, but there are literally hundreds of tags. There are hundreds of tags in here that someone can get on. Established author, like this is our original conference, like founding members of the author stack, like God's Verse, people who buy the God's Verse, people who bought the upsell, like people. So like I segment, and then there's a whole section about no's. So if you scroll down even further, you'll see like no. So these are people who said, I don't want to hear about that book. I don't want to hear about the quiz. I don't want to hear about affiliate promotions. I don't want to hear about author stack discounts. So every time I do this, these things, no Kickstarter. So like the more you do this, yes, people will self-filter, but like there is no upper limit to how many tags you can have on Kit or like in your email provider.
Totally. And you want to make sure that you're leveraging them in the right way and creating actionable tags. But yeah, you can be tracking any of these things. And we'll show in a little bit how that's coming from email clicks, how that's coming from here. For example, for you, Russell, like you manage this process in BookFunnel. So that's coming in as a tag then, right? That people came into the Godverse, right? And you're leveraging that to trigger off an email or to get people into a specific segment.
Yeah, but you're going to show, I think, the landing pages and forms, right? That you can do. Right?
This is something that I just want to showcase for everyone. You can also do this directly inside of here. So if you have your Kit account, you can actually go ahead and just dive into a landing page and natively inside the platform as well. We have tons of authors that are, if you can filter by like what template you want. We have one that's like specifically for books, but you can go ahead and put that book out right here inside a Kit. When you go and choose a template, really easy for us to go ahead and edit any of the copy, the colors, make sure it looks good to you. It's pretty drag and drop, easy to use builder there. But ultimately, we can then go ahead and attach, hey, when somebody downloads this and they put their email address, let me upload the PDF of the book. Let me upload the book here. And so it's really, really simple inside a Kit to go ahead and create that landing page there. Okay, so that's one of the main ways. That's always been a very tried and tested way that people go ahead and collect email addresses. Create that landing page through Kit. Let's go ahead and give out free copies of this novel, and let's go ahead and collect the email address, get you down a sequence that hopefully nurtures you. But what's another way that people collect email addresses, especially now, is the power of partnerships, the power of working together with different authors. And so I know some of you might be Substack users here, and you might be familiar with a version of this. We'll talk about how Kit differentiates in this way, but Kit has this ability for you to go ahead and have an entire marketplace of different creators, different authors that you can partner with. And you can say, hey, I'm going to take these 3, 4, 5 authors, and I'm going to recommend them to my audience. And they can do that in return to you as well. Hey, I'm going to recommend them to my audience. They are going to recommend me to their audience. And when people come in, new readers come into them and subscribe to them, or even existing readers, we can promote specific authors in our emails saying, hey, by the way, if you love my books, you're definitely going to love Russell's as well. Here's where you can subscribe to his emails and check that out. Then you can go ahead and have this reciprocal rising of the tide, right? All the ships rise with the tide. And we can go ahead and build our readership together. I think that's the really beautiful thing, especially about the author community, that this isn't a zero-sum game. I can love Russell's books and I can love Shiv's books. I can love both those books. And so when we work together to partner together and recommend readers to each other, both authors can win. Russell, I know you are somebody who leverages recommendations as well. as well as you're familiar with how recommendations works in Kit and how it potentially works in other platforms. If I can get your thoughts on how you leverage Kit recommendations and how that compares to the platforms that you've used as well.
Yeah, so I've used Sparkloop and I've used Kit and I use Substack. And I was looking this morning thinking I felt guilty because I don't use the recommendation feature enough. And I look like 91 people are recommending me. I've gotten close to 300 new emails just from like that process. And is it equal to the 5,000 emails that I've gotten in Substack? No, but like there are no bad emails. So I'm trying to find Alicia, can you put my link to my creator profile so they can just see like how it looks in their own account if they go? I can't find it in here and I gotta talk. Thank you. So yeah, like I want people on any platform that I'm on to do work for me and for me to do very little work in comparison to so we can all help each other. And so it's very easy to like recommend someone and recommend them back. Like, and then you go about your day and other things happen. And then a week later, you're like, oh, I got some emails from that. I gave them some emails. Like this is the power is not just in, and this is what Shiv and I were talking about before. It's like, it's not just about that you guys do collaborations. It's that you both do collaborations that that give a lot of leverage that you can then say, oh, we both were able to do a thing and vastly exceed that goal of how long it took us to do this thing, and we got good subscribers out of it. So I mean, I'm a huge fan. You guys put this in like after you guys really like improved it in the past year, but like I remember when this came, it was like, wow, this is going to be cool when like it gets like it finds its legs, and it's finally finding its legs. And you can even see, if you see the recommending, the first person here is a fiction author. And so like what I love about Kit is that like there are a lot of fiction authors already here. It's not like Substack where you have to like go searching for a lot of like you can literally just type in search for fiction authors and the word author, you can search by category of author and then just type fiction or romance or something like that, and boom, you then have all of those people show up.
Yeah, we have tens of thousands of creators here, like Russell's saying. And so if we use the word like fiction,
romance,
yeah, let's do that. Romance novel, right? We could do that. Then you're going to find a ton of different romance authors. And we have this ability inside of Kit to like click through and say, okay, let's see who those people are recommending. Let's see who those people are being recommended by. So we can I almost call it like the LinkedIn of creators, LinkedIn of authors. We can go ahead and say, okay, well then who is that person being recommended by? Here's another romance author. And we can kind of click around and find all the different authors that really excite us, right? And we can figure
you can type in that creator type author also, so you don't even have to put in novel. Like you can filter by the kinds of creators you want to search by.
Yep. If we want to just have authors here right at the top here, we could just filter by author and then just, again, keep clicking through and finding the authors that make the best sense for us. And so depending on what your style is, depending on what you're looking for your business, I think that's the big differentiator, that you can partner with real specific direct creators, be very intentional with that partnership. And we have such a good, vast community of authors on Kit that you'll probably find the niche that you're looking for here.
Yeah. Well, and you're all here, and like you're part of like the Author Stack community. So like you can also use that to be like, oh, these are all people that I know. Like if you and 9 other people all sign up to Kit and all of you are romance authors, you now are all recommending each other. Like you can all recommend each other in the next hour. Like the 13 people who clicked so far, those people could all recommend each other by the end of this call, and they would have a little pod. Whereas we talk about doing this on other platforms, and it's a lot harder because it's harder to find. Like there's not a good discoverability. So it's like more established on a place like Substack, but like the fact that you could all create a little pod like on this call right now, if you wanted to, is like really is like a really great feature.
That's the differentiator. And a couple other things we do in Kit just to make it a lot more, again, intentional for you on who you're partnering with, which is the entire goal here. We tell you people who are growing very fast, hey, this person's email list in the last 30 days is outpacing the rest of the people in their niche. This is somebody who consistently sends, because you want to be recommending people. At the end of the day, you're recommending that creators or subscribers subscribe to their emails and that they subscribe to your email. So, hey, this is somebody who's emails consistently. And then like Russell said, we dropped his what's called a creator profile in the chat. There's an entire profile that people can create that showcase, hey, here's some of the past emails that I've sent. Here's who I am with a bio and a headline, right? Here's what I care about. Here's what I write about. And you can get to know their content pretty fast to understand, hey, this is somebody I definitely want to recommend, or hey, this isn't somebody that really fits my mold. And so play around, find out in the recommendations. Again, like Russell said, you have people in the author stack that you could probably make a pod with right now that would be great to recommend. And then there's a whole community of people inside of Kit that you can find out about as well. Okay, let's jump back in here. So these are the two big pillars, I'd say, that are really, really going to help you figure out how to grow that email list. And yeah, thank you, Alicia, for sharing that. We do have some resources on how to get started with that, what's called the Creator Network and recommendations. I host webinars all about it. To like, if you want to spend an hour with me on like your recommendation strategy, we could chat in that workshop and we can nail it down there. But let's get to the body of what a lot of authors could really, really leverage in Kit, and that's going to be the email sends, and not just, hey, let me type out an email, press the send button, schedule it for a future date. We're talking about, hey, let's find triggered reasons. What I mean by triggered reasons is, hey, let's find specific actionable reasons that your audience has taken. And because somebody is specifically new, because somebody is specifically into the Godverse, because somebody has specifically been my fan for 3, 4, 5 months, those people are all different types of readers. I always like to say there's like a big spectrum from somebody who just heard about you for the first time and your most loyal reader and everything in between.
Yes. But when they find you on social media, like you, or even on a platform like Substack, they're getting your next email. Like they get one email, maybe they can go back and search, but like they're not indoctrinated to how you do things. They don't understand your best post. They don't have a chance to get to know you, who you are. I mean, I guess you could make a 5,000 word post and like send it to them in email every time, but like this is, to me, when people say the segmentation and the fact that I can run my business without doing very much once I set up the sequence. And we are so ingrained to do this. Like I have to show up and do the work for every person that we don't realize that like creating leveraged actions is about doing that, setting up that sequence one time, and it runs every time. I call it pitching a perfect game. Like, what if everyone who opened your email only saw your best post, only got your best book, only knew exactly what, and every person who finished your sequence knew exactly how to like what value you had and how to access all of the important parts and bits of your universe.
Yeah, 100%. It's why, Tom, your question about like, hey, Gary Vee would have us use every platform 16 times a day. We can't keep up with that. When you're saying what's the one ring, like, I don't want to say that there's only one strategy that you should be going to, but email needs to be part of your strategy. So I'm not going to tell you that that social is bad, but social is not going to accomplish the goal of getting somebody to actually say, hey, let me read the book. It's great to get, for virality. It's great for like to start to generate interest from somebody who's never heard of you before to the first little bit of, hey, wow, I now might be aware that Russell is an author. right? But it's not going to be the thing that gets me to say, hey, let me actually get Russell's book, let me read it. That's going to be something that you can build within the relationship that you have with email directly with your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that that's like the One Ring is not a platform, it's your platform. Like that's the like the One Ring is your platform that you built, whether that is email or I built an AI. So whether it's an AI that like I used whatever it is, but like it's an app, but it's like the thing you own. So like before, because I want to get to the email sequences, but like I talked about owned media channel. There are four main media channels in this thumb. Owned is the stuff you own. So it's like your email list, your website, your stuff. It is not your profile on Facebook. It is like if you own a Circle community or a Mighty network, like you have ownership of that. You control the flow of data. Then there's borrowed. That's like Shiv and Kit are here borrowing my audience now so they can introduce themselves. Like it's so like it's guest posts, and then there's earned, which is PR, and there's paid. And like you only have to be really great at one of those things, and you really only have to be great at like one platform inside of that thing to make a career. And the more you stack like, it doesn't matter if you which of those you try, except don't try earn. Just don't do earn first. But like it's to me the easiest one is owned, because even if I start with zero value, the value will only increase over time. Like there will not be a decrease of the value of how much my owned media channel. Whereas like if they change the algorithm and I'm on social media, like it might change. Like if I borrow someone else's media and like it doesn't hit because like it wasn't a good fit, like I can't fully control that. But like my owned media, that never decreases in value.
Yes. And let's break down what that means in terms of like when you're owning your own channel, when you're owning your own audience, the other value point of that is being able to speak to that audience in a way that resonates with them. Because again, everybody has different reasons on why they're coming to you. So here's just at the very top, again, like I was saying, you can certainly type an email, press the send button, akin to like a newsletter, like a weekly newsletter, for example. But what you can also do, which is one of the most powerful ways that you can leverage email to save your time as well as to provide value, is we can say, okay, what are people interested in? How do we leverage that information to deliver what people need at the time that depending on who they are to us. So one of those first easy ways to grasp that is there are new readers, brand new people that have come to you and they're getting your emails for the first time. They're reading your books for the first time. What's the message that those people deserve? Russell approaches this really well. A couple of things that I always say, like at the beginning of that, make sure people know who you are, make sure you're delivering value, make sure your audience feels engaged. Russell, you do that here with your email here with your first community. Can you break this down for me and tell me why you write this email the way you do?
Okay, so there's a thing that there are two ways to get into this sequence. The first is if you just straight up join the Wannabe Press email list, you get this. But you don't, because I always send a Wannabe Press email on Tuesday and Saturday, you don't get emails those days. So like I have segmented those days out so no one gets. The second is if you sign up for the God's Verse or Ichabod Jones, and you then get a sequence for that specific series, and then you get added to this sequence. So I needed to do two things. One, what does someone need to know when they're first coming in here, and how can this not be redundant information if someone has already been through a sequence? And so I decided that Beehive is Wannabe Press. Our mascot is Melissa the Wannabe. So our fandom is the Beehive. And the best way to start somebody is just to say, if you click on one of these, you will then get a free book. And if you then get a free book, you will get a sequence for that free book. And if they click on one of these books, they don't get the rest of this sequence. They just get that free book sequence, and they get re-added to this later. So they don't get both at once, which is something that we always talk about with many other providers, including Substack. Like, how do you send? You don't want to send them 50 different sequences at once. Well, this is set up so that if you click on one of these, you stop getting this sequence until that new sequence is done. So you're only getting one thing at a time, so you're not overwhelmed.
I want to just make sure that everyone's like, that's really sinking in everyone's brain, that like these links right here, you saw the list of tags that Russell has that are triggering off different elements of the emails that you're going to get, the messages you're going to get. This is a prime example of that. Right? If you click on one of these links, you are going to get tagged appropriately so that you are getting the correct sequence. And alternatively, you're stopping the sequences that would not be relevant to you. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to overwhelm you. We don't want to overwhelm our readers. We want to just deliver the right message at the right time to them based on what they're interested in.
And you can see down here, it says, if you want to go weekly, monthly, or launches only, click here. And so if someone wants to hear from me weekly, they will not hear from me more than weekly, no matter what, because I have that segmented out. Sometimes I mess up, but like in general, monthly is the same, and only when I launch. Like, so I have a little thing when I set up the filters for when I send an email that says, nobody who is in these segments gets this email. So I might send every day, and I tell people at any time, like, you can get out of this, but if you're okay with it, like until you either unsubscribe or click another button, you're getting whatever I got. I never feel bad about it.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't we dive in and show you all what that looks like inside a kit? The example that I want to start off with is for the Godverse. When people first opt in specifically for the Godverse, and just as a reminder, this tag for the Godverse, is that coming in from when people, again, get book 0?
Yes. Well, when people get book 0 or book 1 or some, there's like 500 different ways that you can get in here. Or if you sign up to my Godverse form.
Sure. Okay. Makes total sense. And again, you can see that this automation has those like 2 different ways you can jump in here. That's because one of these is the tag that Russell already has connected to a couple different ways that you can get that tag. Again, book 1, book 0, right? And then he has a separate form as well that you can get in from. So you could have multiple entryways into a place as long as it makes sense that they're all funneling into that one place.
Right.
But
and then they get this, and then they get tagged to the Godverse so that it's always in there in case I want to send something to the Godverse. They are then removed. You can see this. They are removed from the Wannabe Press email list. So that tag, they will stop getting these, like, so this tag is removed. And then
and describe to me again what the Wannabe Press email.
That's the Beehive one we just saw. So this is a specific one just for the Godverse, and that one is a more general one where I talk about all my series.
And that's because you're saying like, hey, if I don't know what series people are interested in, then sure, I have this general email list where I can send them content. That's that big bucket. But if I know what you're interested in, let me stop the general emails. Let me get you the specific emails. You are interested in the Godverse versus a different series. Let me get you those.
And someone asks, how the heck do you keep track of it? I don't have to. I make it once and then it exists. So I only know this because I spent the last week like reboning up on all this stuff for this webinar. But like in general, the best thing about this is it takes no brain power. After it is set up, it runs in the background forever, which is different than social media. It's different than even when you set up like Owly or whatever, the ones that do like social media, you still have to go in and make stuff. But like for this, every new person gets the same game.
Yeah. And if you're confused about like how to segment, where to segment, I would just take Russell's example of here of saying, hey, you have a general email list of people that have not indicated to you what they're interested in, or they are interested in XYZ. So for Russell, that's book series A, which is Godverse, book series B, or book series C, right? Like you're either in one of those 3 camps, or you haven't told me what the camp is yet, and you're in the general one. That's where you just got to start, right? Just bring it up to the most general level, and then we can go ahead and segment from there.
One of the other ones that I really love that I haven't tried here yet in one of my sequences is a poll that lets people do like and then you can do a branching decision tree with like if someone clicks on this poll question, then like they get tagged on this thing. So like I have it all set up. I just haven't implemented it yet because I've been waiting for the perfect time when like chaos wasn't happening. But yeah, you can do it this way. You can do it easier if you just do a poll or something like that. But they get tagged out of that. They get added to this them good. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's anyone who downloads any of my books gets put in there. So like I know who is I know who downloads them versus who like just joins my list otherwise.
Cool. And what do you use? Like this tag is for your knowledge, essentially. Like, hey, this is everybody's downloaded. Do you ever use it to communicate, or is it more like internally? I just want to know.
It's internally, so I don't unsubscribe them.
Makes sense. Love it. And then finally, we get here where we're sending out the email.
Yes. And so you'll see. Yeah. Sorry, go for it, Shiv.
No, I was just going to say the basics of, okay, when we open this up here on the right-hand side, this is, again, an email sequence. So this is email one of what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 emails that gets sent to everybody. And then you can see that there's a wait time in between each one of those emails getting sent out. So yeah, Russell, let's go ahead and break down that first email here.
Yeah. So, and I want you to just like, this is so easy. This is the way my brain works. So like, this is so clean and easy. The one thing that I recognized about Kit immediately was it's so much less chaotic than any other platform. But yeah, this is just like, hey, this is what the Godsverse is about. Here's a link. If you forgot to download it, so this is very basic. And then after that, I go into all of the little sections. So this second one is about Portal Fantasy and why I love it, that this series is noble bright. So you'll know that the good guys win at the end. Then there's something that people always say to me, which is your books make me feel like I have agency in the world. So like it's a high level, like this is something that like should speak to people who want to feel like that. And then it just keeps going on like that. And you'll see I have like a little discount underneath the for people. So like I have a page that says you get 50% off. So I have a 50% off discount. You only get it in this sequence. So like that's another way that I keep this the excitement up.
Yeah, I love it. And just a couple of things I want to note here. So going back to what we just said of making sure the right message, right time, right person, we know what people are interested in. So a good example of that, again, like Russell said, for this weekly, monthly, or only at launches, this is where we can see it's hyperlinked. The way we would hyperlink is at the top right here. And you can see, hey, subscribers that click on this link will get this tag that says weekly only. Subscribers that click on this link will get a tag that says monthly only, right? He even has it for here. If you go ahead and only if you want to get out of the Godverse, then here you can click on this. If you don't want to hear anything about novels, here's the link for that. So you're just giving a lot of subscriber preferences, giving people the option of what they want, how often they want it.
Yes. And if you scroll down at the bottom, I think I hopefully on this one says, oh, no, not on this one. On the ones in the author stack, it says, just in case I'm doing this one more time at the bottom after my bottom scroll that says, before you unsubscribe, are you sure you don't just want to get out of this sequence?
Yeah. I love that. So this is a really good example for like a specific series, specific novel. People are coming in from that very first time that they opted in on your landing page and Kit, and they're coming in and they're getting this the sequence of emails to welcome them into the Godverse, into your sequence. Just at the very end here, after that 7 emails, after the Godverse, then you do get them added back over to the general emails.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because after these 7, then you're saying, okay, let me get them in there. But if ever in the future there is a time where you're like, oh, it makes sense to target the Godverse list again, the Godverse audience, well then, hey, you could always take them out of the general emails again and then put them into the new sequence that you're giving them.
Exactly.
Cool.
And this all happens behind, like, I don't never have to think about this. This is the most I've thought about this sequence in a year since I set it up.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and that's kind of what I want to talk about next with what we call it at Kit I like to call it a forever sequence. I just feel like it's a great segue into this. This is specifically for your author stack, the automation that we're going to look at for this one.
Yes. So again, they get tagged as this good because they downloaded a thing. But this sequence is all about drip. I took a book and I literally like turned it on its side, and every week they get a chapter. So I could, for 3 years, I think, like not do anything. Could die in 3 years and people would still be getting this, or a year at least, and people are still getting this sequence. And again, you don't have to do anything. Like, the people just keep getting it and keep getting reminded that you exist.
Yeah. If you click into again, that same look of, like, on the right hand side, we see the number of emails, but the wait times are 7 days in between. And there's a year's worth of emails pre-written that anytime that you're going to jump into the sequence, you're going to get it relevant to the time that you jumped into the sequence and a year from that.
Yeah. And you can do this with fiction too, with a book. Like, you can do this with a series of blog posts, articles. Like, you can keep adding to it over time. It's so good.
For the fiction authors or even nonfiction, like, is that the best strategy for fiction authors? You would say, Russell, like, it's to do the chapter per week for like a year. Like, what's the best content to have in a forever sequence for an author?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably going to have to be like a book you have. The key with a forever sequence is I never want to think about this again. So I am like, my assistant currently does my forever sequence on Substack, where it's like, oh, every Saturday we do we launch a chapter of this series.
Right.
I mean, I'm doing that just because, like, it has better organic reach and discoverability. But then, like, I know they will get something. I know that series is going to keep getting marketing over and over and over time. But most people, especially at the beginning, don't have an assistant or anyone to do this for them. So, like, this is a way where, with maybe an hour of work, 2 hours of work, you can have a sequence that just continually markets to people, and you never have to write another email again, ever. If you don't want.
If you don't want to, then you're good to go. Yep. Okay, I love that one. The next automation that I know that we like, I really love this one when you sent it over to me. Talk me through what I'm looking at here. Talk me through what I'm doing over time.
So this is a reward sequence that I set up. So when someone comes into the author stack or Wannabe Press, they get tagged as a level 1 subscriber. And then they get bonuses for every time they move from level 1 to level 2. So you can see there's a wait 30 days, and then they get an email, and then they get tagged level 2. When they get to level 2, it sends them the Taz level 2 email. And that email will be like, hey, thanks for hanging out with me for a month. Like, here's a freebie that I had. Here's a, I don't know what it says for this one. Look, here's a book. Like, here's a free ebook link. And then the only thing they have to do is have been subscribed. And then what happens is it doubles. So it goes 1 month to 3 month, 3 month, 6 month, 12 month, 18 month, I think, is the last one. Maybe 12 month is but they get bonuses during that first year to get them more excited. Just this little, like, spark of joy, hopefully. And again, I set this up once and they just get it. And I get emails, like, at least weekly, if not daily, about, like, wow, so nice. And, like, people telling me their life story. It's great.
Yeah. And so it seems like as well, the longer you stay here, the bonuses just keep getting better here. Like, hey, here's the webinar link. Here's the book at the first one. So you're just continually giving these kind of almost surprise and delight the longer, and people want to stay, I would assume, on the list after they catch on, like, oh, each month that I stay, I'm getting something else from Russell. This is so exciting. I would love to stay engaged so that I get next month's email.
One thing that we didn't talk about here is that my paid members, my Substack paid members, every month they get an email that's like, what is your priority for this month? Like, and so, and it has a list of resources that they can use. So like the hardest part about having a knowledge business is people like think you're like get bored of doing one thing. So because we have so many resources, it says like, hey, here's a lot of the resources. Maybe it's a good time to prioritize. And every month they get that as long as they're a paid member. So it's another way to kind of do this. I'm just trying to automate engagement in a way that like doesn't require a huge lift from me.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, speaking of automating engagement, we're not going to show this one just for the sake of time, but I do want to talk through this. One of the biggest challenges that people have, again, when we're talking about right message, right time, right person of sending out those emails, one of the biggest factors that you can segment off of is how engaged is somebody. And that was a really good sequence for, hey, if you are highly engaged, you've stayed through month 3, you stayed through month 4, yes, let's give you that email, let's deliver that to you. But there's a whole chasm of your audience that, doesn't open your emails, that they are disengaged. And so that's a really core automation that I know you have set up in your account as well. That's also core to your strategy. Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's a cold automation. It's 3 emails across 7 days that tries to re-engage somebody and get them to basically click a link and download a freebie after they haven't been active for 90 days. Sometimes I do it at 120. Sometimes the sequence works as I intended, but it's very complicated. So sometimes I have to do it. I usually every 6 months do it myself anyway, and they get sent. Everyone who hasn't engaged in 90 days and like isn't a buyer. So I have all the people who have tagged as stay. The people that got those emails and were like, no, I want to stay forever. And I'm like, okay, you stay forever. Anyone who's bought from me, so Kickstarter, conference, anything that where money has exchanged hands, they are segmented off, and I think there's close to 6,000 of them now. But those people that remain, they get a series of 3 emails. The first one is the subject line is high. I don't do that often, but it's the number 1 most engaged subject line you can use. So I'm like, well, if you don't open high, you're probably not going to open anything else. And then inside I say, like, you haven't clicked. I don't know what's going on, but like, if you don't click, I'm going to take you off my list because like, I want to make sure only people who want to get this email are getting it. I just did one where you can see on the top of my screen where I'm got rid of like 10,000 subscribers in the last couple of weeks. I'm probably going to have it going through with like a couple thousand more, but it's like, these are not people who might be engaged. They're people who have not said anything. Yeah. Some of them in a year or more. So like people die. And it's really bad to keep people on your list because of spam traps, which means if someone stops using their email address, then the ESPs start using it as a spam trap and say, oh, well, if someone is emailing this dead person or person who's no longer on the platform, then they're not cleaning their list enough. And like that lowers the deliverability. I know people have a lot when you're doing organic only growth, it's a little bit easier to say, I'm never going to call. But when you're doing but when any email is good email, like you got to get rid of the bad email eventually.
Yeah. I'm actually just even like curious. We're not going to dive too far into it, but if anybody in the chat has heard about the concept of deliverability in terms of email, just give me a yes or no in the chat. Totally fine if it's a no, but it's just the idea. Yeah. Okay, cool. We have a couple of yeses. That idea that Russell's talking about, getting your email into somebody's inbox rather than their spam folder. There's a couple factors, but honestly, the main majority, biggest factor is, are you sending to people that are saying, yes, I do want to get that email? So exactly what Russell's saying is right? If you have the ability to take people off, right? I like to call it the breakup email, the one that you're talking about. Hey, looks like, you haven't opened up an email in X amount of time. You can decide what that time period is, 30, 60, 90, a year, right? But it looks like you haven't engaged with me in a while. I'm gonna assume that you're not interested. No worries. I'm gonna take you off the list in about a week. But hey, if that's not the case, then like just let me know. Click on this link, and we'll get you onto the list. And then one of two reactions happens. It's either, well, I actually didn't really like this in the first place, so great, they're gonna take me off the list. Or hey, I'm so sorry, life got in the way. I really do love these emails. I got a little caught up in things, and you just won somebody back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And I will say that since we're nearing the end of time, someone asked about whether there was any support for this. All of these emails and a whole bunch more, all of these sequences, I'm going to send to anybody who signs up for a Kit account. And so you're going to get my cold email sequence, the God's verse sequence, the forever sequence, and other ones that we didn't even share today. That paid sequence, you are going to have to please change them quite a bit. But I'm going to send them to anyone who signs up for a trial, probably in like a few days, like probably early next week.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to you'll be able to see how all of this works, hopefully.
I want you guys to that's super, that's awesome, Russell. I know he sent me a bunch of automations like this that you all have seen. So yeah, we'll get those automations straight up in your account, just as Russell built them. And again, you can edit the emails as you go. But
if you were already if you already signed up for Kit before this, just if you don't get it, yes, just email me. I mean, I'll send it to you. Just I have no way of knowing if you have a Kit account or not. Or maybe Shiv and the team can just show me anyone who has a Kit account that showed up to this one, and I'll send it to anyone who has a Kit account or signs up for a Kit account before this, who's here on this call.
Yeah, we'll work it out in the back end. But yeah, bottom line, if you have the Kit account in the next couple of days, then we'll make sure all of those people get that link there. Okay, let's talk about monetization, because if you're an author, the core of what you're doing is selling your books, right? And building your monetization strategy to that. Tell me a little bit about how you approach that, Russell, through, again, for example, with the Godverse books that you have.
Yeah, so this is set up in on a separate landing page that just sells the whole series. So to me, the best thing you can do when someone enters an email sequence is to give them a deal. Because I sell this series for $25 and it's usually like $60 online. I'm like, well, if you said you like this series and it's interesting, I'll just give you a bunch of money off so you read it, and then hopefully you'll become a fan for life. So yeah, that's how I monetize. And then I use Thrivecart, and Thrivecart has an integration to Kit. And I've been using Thrivecart for years.
Yeah. And the cool thing is
Gumroad also. I also have them on Gumroad, and Gumroad has an integration to Kit too.
And regardless of where you choose to have those books be sold, what marketplace you're choosing to own that, you can, like Russell's saying, that's another factor that we want to be using within sending the right email, the right time, the right person. So tagging based upon the purchases.
So when somebody buys, they get a different email. You saw the tag that was like God's verse buy, Ichabod's buy. I have one for Gumroad. And so it's like when you buy, you get taken out of the God's verse sequence, and now you're in the God's verse buy sequence. And guess what? You get a 2-week break from my emails. Yeah, I add a 2-week break before you get added if you buy something, because I'm like, okay, go enjoy your books. Go enjoy the books, and then you can come back later.
Yeah. That's really smart. I like that a lot. And you all saw how you could do that with the addition and the subtraction of a tag, so that you're coming in and out of a sequence. I do just really want to quickly highlight, inside of Kit, you have the ability as well to build that product page straight up in Kit. So if you do want to go ahead and sell that book, you can do that inside of Kit. And our credit card processing rates are really good, competitive with a lot of the marketplaces. But it's as simple as saying, hey, I've got the Godverse, Good Book Zero. We can go ahead and say, okay, this is going to be how much I charge for it, right? So you can put your cost. And then how is it going to be fulfilled? How are you actually delivering that? Let me upload the file there and deliver it to everybody. And then you can go ahead and just attach that to a specific website. So you can have a website that you have, or we can go ahead and give you one, but instantly, just as easy as it was to build the landing page, you have that same ability to build an entire sales page that can process payments and then deliver your book as well directly inside a kit. The only other things that I want to mention here before we wrap up here is just another way that people are monetizing, a unique way that I've seen that some authors have been leveraging is this ability. We talked about free recommendations, the ability to say, hey, I would love, if you love my books, you're going to love Russell's. Russell does that for me, and we grow our audiences together. Another exchange that you can do for that is instead of recommending each other so that you're building your subscriber list, you can recommend another author, another creator, and they can pay you to do that as well inside a kit. And so the way that works, we call it paid recommendations. You can browse the marketplace that we have. You can get paid for every subscriber that you drive over to the authors that you recommend there. And so if you go ahead and dive into your kit accounts after you get this, you can go into recommendations and just filter by that paid category at the top right here. And that's going to allow you to go ahead and see an entire marketplace of people that, again, you can say, hey, every subscriber you drive with this person, you'll get paid $3, $4, right? $2 here. There's different listings here. I'll just say the caveat that it is for engaged subscribers that you're sending those people. So every creator has a different definition of engaged. Hey, we need these subscribers to have opened up an email, right? Or clicked on a link in the last 14 days, in the last 30 days. But any subscriber you do send them to them that is constituted as engaged, you would get paid out on.
And one thing I like about it is in your Upscribe. Yeah, it's called Upscribe, right? It's still called Upscribe. Am I on the right platform? Okay, Upscribe. You can say I want these people to send 2 paid and 3 free recommendations. You can set whether the paid are at the top or at the bottom. So like if you want to do this, like kind of the way that they do it on Substack, like you can only send 3 recommendations or 2 recommendations or 5, like you can do up to 5, and you can set which ones. You can even set one to automatically always be the first one. So like I'm realizing that the first one is the Writer MBA one, and that they don't have an account there anymore. So I should probably go in and change my first one. But it always showed up for like 2 years as like the Writer MBA one whenever someone would join. And so you can do any of those kinds of things as well. It's really just optionality. I'm so about optionality and ease of use now that
This gives you the power to do it. I totally agree. And then I want to tail off at the very end here. The reason that this entire process is built as a circle, as a wheel, is because more new subscribers at the top means that we build more trust in the emails that we're sending. More trust in the emails that we're sending means that we have a better ability to deliver value to our audience through our paid books, through our books that they're paying for, through the other creators that we're recommending that gives us monetization. And the more money that we collect here, we always have the ability to spend that money back. And we could be the people, for example, that say, hey, I will pay $1, $2, $3 per subscriber that get driven over to me. And we can use that to then gain more new subscribers. The wheel turns faster and faster and produces more and more results for us the more that we push into it. And so this is the strategy that I see a lot of authors leverage, some of the best authors that we have on Kit, to grow as fast as possible. And so I hope that you all see that strategy here. And Russell, thank you so much for breaking down for your business how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will just say that like you're completely right. I told you this earlier. I looked at my recommendations and I was like, oh, look, 200 recommendations. Like, look, that's like, I was like, oh, that's like free. It's like free money to me. Like, awesome. Like, and so you can, like, you said at Crafting Commerce that Kit is moving into a world where they are the operating system for your business. I think that's even on your main page. And like, I really love that because it's the underlying stuff. And we spend so many times saying, how do I claw back to that?
Yeah.
And so the way you claw back time is to, when you finish an email, you use it forever. Like when you have a system that works, you double down on that system that works and do more and more and more as much as possible with it. When like you have a strategy that works, you can either offload it or do it again. Like you can do all of these things, and it's in that ability to stack and stack and stack for years at a time that most authors aren't taking advantage of. They're in a world where they're like, I wrote a book. Well, now the next book, that book is out, and now I'm going to focus all my attention on the next book. I did that TikTok video. Where's the next TikTok video? I got to do one in 3-4 hours. And yes, often they will batch, but that still means you have to be the person that does the thing. Like you still have to be the person checking the box or being on any of that stuff. Whereas if you start looking at your business as, how can I build leverage? Well, leverage is having a bigger audience, but it's also in every time someone comes into that audience, they get really excited really fast.
Yeah.
So like if you can be like, oh, it usually takes someone a year to buy and I can get it down to a month, you've just like 12x'd your revenue.
Yeah.
And you can, and so that is, as we get out of here, I mean, I know we're over now, but like as we were designing this, Shiv and I, the thing that I kept coming back to is these are people that already use MailerLite. They already use like Substack. They already use social media. And what I've heard for years is like, how do I claw back time? How do I prevent burnout? How do I do X, Y, and Z? And it's in this ability to tag and segment. And then I don't have to think I don't have to think like, oh, does Jenny get this email? I'm just like, well, if Jenny said she doesn't want this email, like I have it tagged, she's not going to get it. But like, if she didn't tag it, then like, that's not a Russell problem. I set up all of the things in every email. I just went through and added tags earlier today for one of my sequences. And so the more you can get, like, it's very hard to say, oh, I pay $30 a month. I want to pay way more than that. But the investment in your career really is, wow. I can now do more. When I started using Kit, I was like, oh my God, all this stuff I did manually, I like now don't need, or I do Zapier and pay hundreds of dollars for. Like I no longer have to do those things because like they're native in there. We didn't talk about the apps. We didn't talk about the rules. We didn't talk about any of that other stuff that is great. But like I really, even if you don't get a Kit account, like I really sit down with this, like really settle with it and say like, how can I move the needle myself? How can I take an hour of work and then use it for the next 10 years? Like, how can I do less, but still show up? Because I show up every week. I mean, I don't show up to necessarily my wannabe press account every week, but like I have an assistant who puts the email out there. So like people are getting content. I am doing no work. And like, how valuable is that? How does that let you build and build, build and build? And someone asked earlier, how do you keep all this track? And it's like, well, I don't have to. Kit doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the tags are for. Russell can click into any one of these and say, well, who's now the new customers of mine? Who are the people who are interested in the Godverse? And it's already working. He does it. That's even just for his knowledge. It's already working in the background because they're interested in the Godverse. They already are getting the right emails. Because they haven't told them yet, they're getting the right emails. Because they're interested in this, because they're a new customer, they're getting the right emails. It's awesome. I do want to just quickly highlight here. So we partnered with Russell on a couple things. One thing that this was through, again, the grace of Russell. Like he is sharing the automations that we showed today for you. If anybody gets that account. So again, bottom left corner, sign up. If you get that account, Russell's going to we're going to get you those automations. In addition to that, we partnered with Russell on a couple things here. Number one, if you do go ahead and ultimately choose to upgrade over to one of our paid plans here, we're going to give you 50% off your first 3 months. That's specific to this community, to you guys that we're offering that today. Number two, we have, again, some of our creator growth managers, they work with some of the top authors and creators in the space. And so we have an entire resource that we've compiled of the 10 best strategies that we've learned from professional creators and how they relate back to you all. So that's going to be something that you get. And then last but not least, we have some automations as well that we've seen be really, really valuable for creators. And so you're also going to get the link to those automations as well when you become a customer here at Kit. And so go ahead and leverage that. Yeah, what are you going to say, Russell?
I was just going to say, like, you can sign up for an account and get up to 10,000 subscribers for free with one automation. So it's only when you start getting more and more and more complex with your business. So some people were asking, like, well, like, what if I only have one thing? Well, it's like, well, I mean, it probably will take you quite a while to get up to 10,000 subscribers with one automation. It will take you less. I think everyone should have 10 automations, but like, as you saw, I was super automation. The other thing that I will say is, if you are using something like Substack where there's not an open API, Kit, you can backend to Kit through Zapier, anything that they don't natively go into, which is a ton of stuff. Like, you can back into it through Zapier and still get all of the advantages of your Kit account, or you can use Make, or Pabbly, whatever the one that you want to. The best part about using like one of the better known providers who like is the most invested in is like it was very easy to do everything that I had to do, like, to get these things working.
Yeah. I love it. I do see that there's just like a couple last questions. Kim asking, can we get these materials if you have the paid Kit account? Yeah, we can get you all those bonuses that we just talked about. And so just shoot us an email at help@kit.com and we'll make sure that we get those to you. Or Lisa, just correct me if that's the right, help@kit.com is where we're going to send that. If you just email us over there, we'll make sure we get you that there. And I feel like that's majority of what we got here. Kurt, if you're asking just for the link to be able to sign up and get those bonuses, we got them in the bottom left corner for you on the screen. So feel free to click on that link, and then that'll get you the ability to create that account, and we'll get you those bonuses over there. Russell, this is awesome. I love getting to hang out with you, and you use Kit in such a great, intelligent way. I feel like all authors should be using it in the way that you choose to build automations, and we see so many successful authors that do that. So I can't wait to see so many people in this audience, in this community, start to leverage email in the way that you already do there.
Same. Well, thank you so much. I think to me, it all makes sense. I want to do more things with less time, and Kit helps me do that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. I know we couldn't get to every single question here today, but again, feel free to shoot our questions over here to help@kit.com. We're here to help you all out. And thank you all for attending today. And Russell, let's do this again sometime. This was fun.
Yes, absolutely. Bye, everyone.
Bye.